A subscriber recently commented that of all the movies that I've reviewed on YouTube, not one has been a movie about the mob. Now personally, I figured that a Scarface collaboration and the Boondock Saints series counted reasonably enough. But just in case, here is another movie about the mob. But in this case, the story focuses on a remarkable outsider who threatened the mob like few before him ever did. The movie is known by two titles. Bulletproof Gangster is one title, but the one that most people use is the simple statement, "Kill the Irishman." The movie is about legendary Irish-American gangster Danny Green, who was not only a man long involved with the mafia, but was also an FBI informant on the side. His war with the Cleveland syndicates led to such power shifts that nobody could have ever predicted. The movie's about Danny Green's life, starring Ray Stevenson. Stevenson is one of those underrated actors who can completely physically transform himself for certain roles. Considering he was Volstagg in Thor, it's no surprise that he disappears into the persona of Danny Green. So much so that the movie uses actual footage of Green in the movie. But we'll get to that in a minute. Green goes from being an intellectual longshoreman to a corrupt president of the International Longshoremen's Association. After he's brought down by the police, he starts informing for the FBI on the mafia's activities in Cleveland. Over the years, Green asserts himself in the criminal underworld as a man to be feared and respected. He first falls in with John Nardi, who remains close allies with him throughout the film. After falling out with the mafia chiefs in Cleveland and New York, Green gathers his own loyal crew and becomes a legend, not just for taking on the mob, but for being unkillable. Kill the Irishman is a great crime film, plain and simple. It features the fascinating story of Danny Green's war with the mob in the 70s, and like any movie about a dangerous criminal, it shows his rise and fall. The movie reinforces its historical accuracy by frequently showing the real news reports of the various car bombings, murders, and trials that commenced during this time period. If the movie is guilty of being a bit formulaic, it's forgiven in my books because this is a unique story in the history of American crime. Danny Green is educated, violent, devoutly religious, and very proud of his Irish past, despite having never been to Ireland. He commands respect by cheating death and inflicting terrible vengeance upon his would-be killers. The story holds us with this account of a man's life, and fills the roles up with yet another impressive cast of well-known actors. We get Ray Stevenson as Danny Green, but we also get Vincent D'Onofrio as John Nardi. We get Vinnie Jones as Danny's friend, Keith. We get Christopher Walken as the Jewish mafia associate, Shonda Burns. Val Kilmer as Joe Manditsky, who occasionally narrates the film, and Paul Sorvino as yet another Sicilian mafia boss. Other well-known actors in this movie include Laura Ramsey, Fionnuala Flanagan, Steve Sciarippa from The Sopranos, and even Bob Gunton from The Shawshank Redemption. And yes, the cast all do a fine job with their roles, and some of them actually have a depth to them and fleshes them out as people rather than just stereotypes. The biggest examples of this are the characters played by Stevenson, D'Onofrio, Kilmer, and Walken, who aren't usually in a lot of mob movies anyway. This movie is a bit like The Onion Field or The Fighter, in that it takes a person's life, focuses on the more interesting aspects, and delivers a good film that doesn't aim to be more than it is. This is meant to entertain us, and does so without insulting us as an audience. Now, some of you are probably asking why, of all the mob movies out there, I picked this one. Well, there's a bunch of reasons. One, it'd be too easy to praise such amazing classics about the mafia. Two, this is a recent DVD release and deserves some attention. It's a competent movie about a gangster who caused shockwaves through the mob, turned himself into a contemporary Robin Hood, and claimed patronage of God and the saints. If the Boondock Saints was based on anything in real life, Danny Green's story would be it.